Hello, Marvel Tokon family. I am back and I'm here to give you 4 tips plus putting all those tips together into a game theory at the end here. I wanted to do 5 tips, but I kind of realized my 5th tip is more theory. So we're gonna go 4 tips plus theory. I'm excited. We got 2 days left. We're on the 4th. We got 2 days left. Um, I can't stop thinking about the game, guys. So I need to get some ideas out here. So we're going to be using Twitter as visual aid. We already know why I don't have the footage. OBS did not like the video game, so we can't record anything. But so we're going to be using the Twitter clips for reference. All the creator names are up here. Please go follow them. They are all awesome creators of tech and just content creators as well. Yes. So we're going to get into my first tip, which I think is going to be the most game-changing one: active tag tech. So if you don't know what the active tag tech, this is how it works. You push active tag, and while you're active tagging here, you can see Magic is inputting an action. See, she already inputted it. She glowed green. She inputs an action while she's changing, and then boom, Black Panther's in. And as you can see, this does not spend any assemble gauge. So this is going to be extremely useful, as you probably understand by now, because you're going to be doing all kinds of stuff like this. Like, you're going to be making all kinds of assist coverages for your team, and this is going to be amazing, right? It's very simple to use, but it has a very high ceiling. There's like infinite ways this can work out with your whole team. And as you can see, you can do it with any team member. It's not just your first character, right, and your second character. You can choose anyone on your team to tag out with to create any situation you really want to. The flexibility is just crazy on this. So yeah, right, that is basically tip 1. I'm gonna get into the theory part of it, because I do have more to say here, but I'll save that for the final theory section at the end. So please stick around if you do want to hear more about what I think will be happening with this mechanic. Then we have actually, this is more of another example. So let me throw this in here because this is kind of part of the same tip. I just kind of forgot to mention it here. This is an example of using the active tag, but something I want to get the point across with the active tag. The active tag, you can use it anytime you're in neutral, right? So even in the air, for those of you who have not played the game yet, you can just raw tag midair. So anytime you are in a neutral state, you're not pushing a button, you're just moving around, right? You can do tag. Same thing applies for assist. Now, what is important about this neutral state? Well, when you do these neutral state actions, including assist, they do not take your green bar, your assemble gauge. So here's an example of mixing both of those concepts. You see he does a neutral assist here. This is Magneto's air assist coming out by using jump cancel, right? He's jumping, and then right before he pushes a button, he's pushing the assist. So that's how he's getting air assist here, and that doesn't cost any assemble gauge. So this is going to show you how you can apply this mid combo, and then it's also going to show you how you can apply tagging in neutral to pressure here. And there you go, right? You see none of that costed any green gauge, even though he switched characters 2 times there. So this is just kind of like a practical application of that tech, and also showing the importance of learning how to put yourself in a neutral position, mid combo or potentially mid pressure, right? Because it'll give you access to these two mechanics. So now I'm going to move on to tip two. Sorry, I kind of forgot I wanted to show that there. Tip two, using assist early in block strings to get around active tag cooldown window for better pressure and mix up. So watch what happens here. There we go. Yeah, you see how fast he's able to switch? He gets the mix here. So what I'm going to explain here, because this tip I think is going to be one of the tips that you want to practice a lot, because this one is going to be what hurts people's brains when it comes to muscle memory from old tag games. Traditionally, when we play tag games, what we do in assist calling, and you may not realize it because it's so automated in your brain now. Traditionally, what we do is we call assist before normals make contact, generally. And number two is we like to use the assist towards the end of a block string. Both of those activities in your brain, they have to change, right? They have to change, because that's not the way it works in this game. Number one, you literally cannot call your assist while you're not making contact with the opponent while you're doing a normal or any attack for that matter. You need to be making contact with your opponent, block or hit. Assist basically function as a special move cancel. That's the easiest way to think about it in your brain. If you just imagine that the assist is a special move cancel, it'll work way easier in your head. That's number one. Number two is that we tend to call assists at the end of block strings, but the way you want to pressure is not like we normally do. Normally with assist, we pressure by calling the assist and then doing another pressure string with the same character who's on point, right? That's normally what we do in assist-based games. That's not what you want to do in this game. You want to do pressure by switching in to your next character, which means you need them out earlier so that they are available to switch at the right time that you're looking for. So that's what's happening here, right? He does it early. That lets the assist timer go down a whole bunch. And something interesting is definitely happening here. Like, it just seems a little faster than normal, but I do think this is just, he is basically putting the assist at the beginning of the string as opposed to the end, like we would normally do. And then you get to see that, right? Star-Lord does something with his guns on the ground, and then she gets to hit an ambiguous cross up. So that's kind of showing you like what to do. I think there's another example here. So this is how pressure works in this game. So a lot of us were starting to get used to this at the end, and at least in high level, we were starting to kind of get used to doing this because we were realizing our standard methods of pressure do not work in this game like we're used to in tag games. You need to be doing this, right? Like, you do a thing, go into your next character, and then they start doing a thing. Let's see if here's some more, right? Same concept. And here's like an extended one. So he's going to do multiple switches, right? This is how they want you to structure your pressure. Because yes, can you try to do the pressure the old way that we're used to? You can, but anytime you're doing that, in 99% of the cases, you're going to be trying a pressure reset if you're trying to pressure the old way, which carries inherent risk. These things that he's doing do not carry risk because these are basically all block strings, right? These are all block strings. They're all true strings. They're not any second where he's gapping his strings. Doing it the way we are used to, generally it will gap your strings. Most assists just do not have a lot of block stun, right? But you need to use And the reason they do that is because they want to incentivize you to use the moves on point, like kind of how Blade's throwing his glaive here, right? Because this move does have block stun, right? It has block stun on it. So they're trying to incentivize that. Same with Miss Marvel there, right? So definitely use this early assist calling and getting used to not doing assists like we normally would do it. You have to learn it. I really think this is something you should just practice in your muscle memory, because this is going to be something the same way that assist calling is natural to us in these other games to extend pressure. This needs to feel natural to you. Like you need to just be doing this on the fly automatically in your brain for this game, because this is going to be the standard method of pressure essentially. Then I'm going to move on to tip 3 now, which is the crossover counter tech. So if you did not know, crossover counter has a different version of crossover counter between certain characters. So he's going to show it here. But yeah, crossover counter basically has 2 states right now. Has the normal one where you blow someone away full screen, which he's going to show in a second. Let's just wait. It's going to be right here. Yeah, so you see Storm pushes him full screen. That's what like 80% of the cast has. But there is a second version of crossover counter that is much stronger, where it will knock your opponent up. So he's going to show it in a moment, but this version of crossover counter is very good, because you see the pop-up and you see how he recovers out of it. You can basically get pressure from that situation, which he's going to show. Boom, right? You just locked your opponent down. Now they're in pressure. So that is super good. And so I'm going to give you the list of the characters that have this type of crossover counter. It is Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, Iron Man, and Magic. They are the ones so far that we know of that have the pop-up crossover counter. So that is going to be useful. Now he's kind of showing you how the full screen crossover counter is not as good of a situation. But one thing I think is going to be relevant and what we can take from here, not all characters is, you know, this full screen crossover counter. Not every character this is bad for, right? Spider-Man is really good in this situation because he can actually get guaranteed pressure from the full screen crossover counter. He doesn't care. Like he doesn't care which crossover counter he has on his team at all. So yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the theory section as well. Just remember, all 4 of these tips are going to kind of culminate together in my theory section. So we're going to keep going here. The next tip, and I guess the last tip we have here, is just, honestly, it's just advice, right? This isn't even like tech, this is just advice. So the first 2 characters on your team need to be able to do it all. Spend time figuring out how to build pressure from block. It's okay to take some risk of your assist getting hit to try to be sure to get a tag with a concrete advantage. And I heavily subscribe to this duo idea. I think your duo is going to be very important. I'm just going to put the footage on. I don't really have anything particular to say other than just watch what he does, right? Because this is just the type of synergy you're going to want to be having. But I have a little more to add to this duo talk. So yeah, you're seeing him, right? Like he's great, right? Like he has a structured pressure idea, how to get in with his duo in a way that is very risk free, right? It's not super duper risky. So you're gonna want to have a lot of tech, like as much tech as you possibly can with your duo, because what we'd add on top of this is a few things. we add the tag tech, right? The tag tech tip 1. Adding that and making sure your duo functions really well with the tag tech is going to be like, oh, okay, that's going to give your duo a lot of extra oomph. You want your duo to be good because you want to make sure that you have the advantage in that first round to get those wall breaks. It's very important, right? It's very important. And the other thing, right, is that, you know, in his case, he's using assemble gauge here. You're gonna want, you know, this is where the tag tech is gonna come in. You're gonna want to not be using assemble gauge as much as possible because you only get one assemble gauge when you're only a duo, right? You only get one assemble gauge, and you want to use that assemble gauge effectively. And the assemble gauge is also a very huge snowball tool, and we'll get into that in the theory section towards the end where we're putting it all together. But yes, it's a very huge snowball tool. So the other thing I wanted to mention and add my own 2 cents to his advice here, I was actually kind of discovering the same thing, but in a different weird way. My duo discovery ended up being related to matchups. Another important aspect of your team in this game, I think, is going to be having someone cover your point character or your main star of your team, covering a matchup that you don't want them to really play. Because so I was playing Storm has really, really horrible buttons on the ground and in the air. They're just bad. So what was happening is I would go up against Magic and any real like mid dispenser character a lot of the time, and I would just be starting the game and it would just be like a huge uphill battle, it felt like to me, because the beginning of the game is so focused on you getting like basically rush down because you want to get your wall break so fast, that me trying to approach the other characters and play against them with their big buttons versus my really bad small buttons, it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. So what I decided later on was that I'm going to put Blade in my second slot so that I can have my own mid dispenser to go at it when people are playing these mid dispenser characters on point, and I don't want to deal with them with Storm, right? So and that had a huge impact, right? It had a huge impact on how my games were going overall. Because my first round became so much stronger, all of my other rounds after that became way stronger as well. Because once I got the full team, then I could like kind of pick and choose my situations to bring in Storm where she's strong. Because where Storm is strong is her neutral, right? The situation where I get to put out EX Tornado and I'm full screen away from you and I'm just moving the wind to wherever I want it to go, that's where she's really strong, right? So anytime, the fact that I could maximize the situation where I'm putting her in that situation and not having to have her in the situation of we're up close trying to get a hit and get these wall breaks, that was really helpful. It really increased my win rate against these mid dispenser characters that are on point. It was extremely helpful. So I do think the duo dynamic and team dynamic you have is very relevant, right? For the reason he's saying, like being able to structure pressure with just those 2 characters is really important. And then also the reason I'm presenting here that, hey, like you may want to have a character that covers a matchup that you don't want to play, right? Because if you're getting invalidated on round 1, you're not getting your wall breaks, you're getting behind like in the game very quickly. Yeah, so those are the 4 tips. I really am gonna go into the theory here now of how I kind of imagine the game is gonna be. I'm mostly going to use this for visual aid, and we're kind of gonna go through and see how I think a lot of these tips are gonna affect the game. So let's get started here. The first thing I want to talk about is assemble gauge. The assemble gauge is going to be one of the most important parts of the game. This assemble gauge, it comes back really slow, guys. It comes back extremely slow. And here are the reasons it's going to be important. So number one is that the assemble gauge, as of right now, this could change. As of right now, the assemble gauge is like the key to maximizing a cash out for your like high damage combo. That is the pretty much the key to getting a high damage combo at this time. So if you're able to save all three of your assemble gauges and not use it in neutral or in block strings at all, that's really good, right? That's really good. It's kind of like what you want to be trying to do as much as possible, because you want to get that big cash out. The other reason you want to be holding on to assemble gauge is crossover counter. Crossover counter is way more important to the game than I really thought it would be. I kind of imagined that crossover counter was going to be bad because the cost of getting disassembled is just so high, right? Like, you do not want to be disassembled. That's like the worst situation you can be in the whole game. So I thought legit, like, people were just not going to use crossover because why would you want to risk that, right? It just doesn't work out that way when you play the game. There are just certain situations where it almost feels like you have to use crossover to get out of it. Like the biggest situation I can think of right now is Miss Marvel and her overhead, because her overhead's plus on block, right? And you know, I'm confident in my blocking, but I don't really want to keep sitting there and taking constant mix-ups, like and then every time you want to restart your pressure, you just do an overhead to restart your pressure. Right, like I don't want to sit there and take that. So I do think that crossover is actually a lot more important than at least I was initially thinking, and I think a lot of people too. But once we played the game, we kind of realized that, like, no, this is like a really important mechanic that we're going to be using a lot, and sometimes the risk of getting disassembled may be worth it. I know that sounds really weird because it's like the worst situation in the game, but it might be, right? So how does this tie into this section? So like I just told you, the assemble gauge is important. So this is the second most important use for the assemble gauge, in my opinion, other than cashing out damage. The next thing this is going to tie into, specifically this tech he's talking about. So let's talk about the team building aspect now, right? We understand what's important for assemble, and you know why we're going to be using the tag tech a lot to store up this assemble gauge and so on, right? Let's talk about teams. So what is gonna be important to a team? Now, personally, I think this is still a pretty big question mark, mostly because of this tech. This tech changes a lot of things. So I'm going to theorize now on some of what that's going to change. One thing you're going to notice with this tech, right, is that, let's just say Black Panther wants, you know, she wants to tag out to Blade. Cool. So Blade goes to the top slot, Black Panther goes to the uppercut slot. Okay. What's going to happen next? Oh, Blade wants to tag out to Magneto. Cool. Blade goes to assault assist slot. Magneto goes to point. And oh, I want to tag out again. Magneto goes to DP assist slot, Black Panther goes back to point. I think you kind of see the point I'm trying to make is that your team is going to be flowing like a river when you're using this tech. And so what I think that's going to incentivize is characters who have 3 good assists, something completely new to tag games, a completely new dynamic to tag games. In tag games, generally we are incentivized to have 1 good assist and pick the 1 good assist. This is going to be incentivizing you to have characters that have 3 good assists, because, you know, if you have someone who has a really bad assist and they get stuck in a different slot than you want them to because you're trying to blow your team, that's not going to feel good, right? That's not going to feel good. You're going to feel like you're in a bad spot. You're going to have to spend time and effort and brain power to re-shifting around your team with these tag outs, which even getting into that, I think, is going to be something that you want to learn how to do. For example, right? Maybe here, let's just say, for some reason, I'm feeling like I want Magneto's DP assist right now. Like, oh, I should try to get Magneto into the DP slot and get Blade to hit assault assist slot. Like, you see the dynamic there? Like, that's a really interesting dynamic. that's super interesting. Or maybe, right? Oh man, like my projectile assist is just not doing what it needs to be doing right now because it keeps losing to other projectiles in neutral or something. Let me go ahead and get Magneto over to assist 1 slot, shooter assist. His assist beats all the other projectiles. Those kind of dynamics are going to be present when people get really good at this game. So what I want to put forth is that having 3 good assists is important. What are characters that are doing this right off rip that we can say? So one of the best characters for this, in my opinion, right now, and there's going to be extra reasoning for this as well, is Wolverine. So just to briefly explain, I'm also going to break down how I judge all of the assists, because I think there's some intricacies to that before I get into why this is good. So I'm going to start with judging shooter assist. Shooter assist, I think, because people haven't really discovered this yet, but I went ahead and labbed shooter assist because I was curious. Shooter assists are all generically 25 frames of block stun across the board, except for like 2. Penny is 27, which is the most of any shooter assist, but 2 extra frames does not matter. And I think I want to say Magic is 26. There's one character on here who's 26, but I'm forgetting who it is. But I think it's Magic. So those are the only 2 characters who don't have 25 frames of block stun. So yes, right? Even what we were considering, like, oh, he's going to be the god tier of shooter assist because he has a beam. Well, the thing we usually care about on beam property, which is long block stun, he is the same as every other character down here. All of them have 25 frames. What does that mean for you? Well, what that means is that the most important thing on a shooter assist is no longer the block stun. It is the properties of the move. That means there's going to be a god tier of shooter assist, and here's the god tier of shooter assist. These four are the best shooter assist in the game, in my theoretical opinion. Why is that? So his shooter assist deletes all projectiles that come in contact with it. Pretty good. His shooter assist deletes all projectiles that come in contact with it as long as he has a debris, and deletes all assists that come in contact with it as long as he has a debris. Super good. Probably the best one. She has a new shooter assist. If you were playing the old betas, it's now her punch. Deletes all projectiles that come in contact with it. Good. And this guy, he's not on the same exact level as these three, but he's like the bottom of them. Deletes most projectiles that come in contact with it, not all. Most projectiles that come in contact with it. Very good, right? These are the 4 gods of shooter assist. Okay, so that's already one thing that Wolverine has going for him. You know, I'll break down this whole shooter assist, like how I see it. So the next tier of shooter assist, I'll just go over like what I consider like the first 3 tiers of shooter assist. The next tier of shooter assist is piercing. Because I think that's the next best property. And when I say piercing, I don't mean projectile piercing, so it does not pierce through projectiles. It still clashes with other projectiles, but it pierces through the opponent. So if you have assist character 1 over here, and then you put like your opponent's assist is over here, and then your opponent's standing behind them over here, then the opponent gets hit and the assist gets hit at the same time, right? Because it pierces on hit. I think those are good because happy birthdays are going to be pretty impactful in this game, and also assist sniping is going to be impactful in this game. So I think piercing is probably the A tier, like the second best property you can have on your assist, which is going to include these characters. Am I missing? Oh, yep. So these 9 are these 5 are who I know about right now. I don't know if anyone, he may have piercing technically, but I'm not actually sure about that. And I don't know how it works with other projectiles for his, because his is like a physical attack. But he could be up there as well. So those 5, they have the piercing. I think they are the next best of shooter assist. And again, just keep in mind, like, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, but every single shooter assist up here is 25 frames of block stun. It does not matter, right? It literally does not matter. The only thing that matters is the property of the projectile that you are throwing. That is the only difference maker between all of these. So the next tier and the last tier I'm going to go over is the mid tier of shooter assist, which I think this is what I would consider pretty good, right? Like not super good, but pretty good. Shooter assist, which is multi-hitting ones. These guys, I'll just put these 3 for now because I'm not really like too sure about the rest of these characters. Nor do I want to put some of them up here, but these 3 are like the multi-hitting ones. These are good, right? These are good. They're not bad. They're good. In some cases, I think I need to test this still. In some cases, they may beat some of these shooter assists up here, because like Black Panther only has 1 hit on her shooter, and I want to say that if Blade shoots his gun at her spear, that one of the gun hits absorbs one of the spear hits and the other 2 bullets go through and hit your opponent. So multi-hit is not, I don't want you to think of it as fully weaker than these piercing assists, because in some cases they may overcome these piercing assists if the piercing is not like multi-hitting. But yeah, so that's how I see shooter assist. DP assist, I'm going to go over very quickly because there's not really much to it. So DP assist, what I see as a good DP assist is as long as the DP assist has a long hit stun that's super easy for you to confirm off of, it's a good DP assist. I'm not really like, expecting too much else from DP assist. I think that's like the only thing that's required, because I also tested DP assist, and DP assist almost entirely across the board. Again, this is like a 90%. There was like one character who didn't have this. I can't remember who right now off the top of my head. They are almost universally across the board 20 frames. And actually, you know what? I think I do remember who. I think it was Black Panther and Magneto. Their DP assists are not 20 frames a block stun. I think they're 25 like their shooter assist, because it's just a different version of their shooter assist, the up versions. I'm pretty sure I remember that's what it was when I was testing it. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what it was. So again, that means that, you know, the DP assist is pretty nebulous, right? All you really want out of it is, hey, I hit my opponent and I can combo it on reaction, which means it's pretty easy to have a good DP assist, all things considered. Like, this is the easiest slot to have a quote-unquote good assist in. A character, I'm going to give you an example of a character who has a bad DP assist, just so you can understand like what good and what's bad. Storm. Storm's DP assist is awful. It's terrible. Yeah, it's multi-hitting and like, oh, it looks really cool and stuff. Cool. What happens when they are done with the hit stun of this move? Bro, they like immediately flip out. Like, there's barely any hit stun after this move is done hitting them. I do not like it. I think this was, like, in my experience, this was the worst DP assist I used the whole beta, except for maybe like this. This guy's is really bad, but this is mostly because he just hits like a really bad angle. So getting a good DP assist is very nebulous, because all you really need is hit stun. So again, this is where I'm going to push this character, and I think you're starting to see a pattern here. So, oh, Wolverine has 2 really good assists. What about his assault assist? Okay, let's talk about what makes a good assault assist. I'm going to just keep him up there. So, a good assault assist is 2 things. Neutral control. That is an assault assist like Magic's, where she controls the screen. Or high block stun, which is an assault assist like Blade's, where he has 40 plus frames of block stun. So the characters who are like this are going to be Blade, Danger, and Miss Marvel. And is there anyone else? You all are probably going to say this guy, but I'm going to just debunk you right now. This guy's this was the most disappointing thing of my testing, actually. This guy's assault assist has terrible block stun, guys. It's awful. It is basically equivalent to a shooter assist. It's like about 25. Yeah, I know, right? It doesn't make any sense because of all the missiles. I'm hoping, like, I didn't get to test it too much, but I'm hoping that maybe by some miraculous chance the frame data counter is lying to me, and that maybe it was just judging the last hit of the missile as being 25 frames and not the whole entire series of missiles. But I'm like pretty certain it's the whole entire series of missiles is like only 25, which is really bad. That is not what you want on your assault assist at all, for an assist that has such long startup. Yeah. Oh, we were forgetting him. Okay, this one's more theoretical. I don't know, and same with Wolverine as well. I don't know these two's actual frame data. I kind of forgot to test them, but I'm like pretty certain that they're either 40 or slightly below 40 frames of block stun, which is what would pass as a good assault assist. This guy, I mean, he has a little more going on than just block stun. He also has utility with his assault assist, so I think he's also kind of up here just for that. But Wolverine, let's just talk about him real quick because that's the focus of the conversation. Wolverine's assault assist is basically, it's got buffed. When we were seeing it in the previous footage that wasn't the beta, what would happen is that this assault assist, it's his armored poke that he does. What happened is that he would just do that armored poke and nothing else if he didn't make contact on hit with the opponent. So if it was blocked or if it whiffed, he just did this, and that was kind of bad. But now what happens is on whiff, on hit, or on block, Wolverine, if he does his armored poke, he will do his Berserker Rage follow-up of that move, which is multi-hitting. And it has pretty decently long block stun. Most likely this is a 40 frames, but it could be a little bit under 40 frames, maybe like in the high 30s. Either way, that is enough to qualify as a top tier assault assist. So now I have my narrative here. There is Wolverine. He has 3 really good assists. So let's tie it back into this. So, just like I was having you imagine, we're moving the character slots around. Why is this relevant? Well, that means, hey, this guy has 3 good assists pretty much anywhere. So, you know, it doesn't really matter if he's moving around a whole bunch in the back of my team and cycling through, because anywhere I put him, I'm going to get use out of him. This is why I think Wolverine is actually going to be one of the most played characters later on. And I think that is currently why Blade and Magic are some of the most played characters and will be played more in the future as well right now. Because Blade is another character. His assist position is relatively nebulous, as I just showed you. B tier for shooter assist, which means it's good, right? It's not bad, it's good, it's multi-hitting. And he has a pretty, you know, what I would consider a pretty good DP assist. It has good hit stun, and it's definitely has a good hitbox as well. And then he has one of the, you know, broken top tier assault assists. He has 40 frames of block stun. Same with Magic. She has an A tier shooter assist with piercing. She has a top tier DP assist. Her DP assist has insane amounts of hit stun. And then she has a top tier assault assist as well, because she basically pushes the I control the neutral button when she does her assault assist. So yeah, right, these 3 characters, there are some more as well, like her. She basically almost has the same thing as Wolverine going on. She's one of the broken shooter assists, like I showed you earlier. She's also one of the broken assault assists, like I showed earlier. She probably has 40 plus frames of block stun. It also sets up for some weird cross-up shenanigans because of the way her assault assist works. And her DP assist is definitely passable, and maybe even one of the potential top tier DP assists, because it hits behind her. So that means like there's less gap for your opponent to maneuver around, like they can't just jump over her. So yeah, right, like there's again another character that, so like these characters like this that have like 3 really good assists. I think another character like that is kind of Magneto. Though I will say his magnetic spike is like, it's okay. It has high block stun though. It's just harder to set up than like these guys assault assist, but it's good, right? And then now a reason I'm gonna put out here that maybe these 2 are gonna appear the most on teams, right? So let's tie this back over here. So if you remember the list I gave out, both of these guys have the pop-up crossover tags. So that already means that they're going to have an extra utility when they're in the back of your team that they are adding. So there's going to be a lot of adding value to your team for your characters in the back, right? Adding value to your team is going to be what I think a lot of this, like a lot of the team building is going to be based around that. And these characters, like these two, are going to be extremely valuable. Like super duper valuable. Another character, I think he may not show up as much as first, but I do think he's going to have some of this similar type of value going on, is Cap. His 3 assists are all just pretty solid. Exactly what you'd want for an all-rounder. Like, he has a top tier shooter assist, and then I think his other 2 assists are pretty like middling for both of their types. His DP assist is like regular. It's nice. It works, has hits done. His assault assist is like really unique. It can be a very powerful tool potentially. Like, but you see the point I'm trying to get across here is that having 3 to 2 powerful assists is going to be very potentially important. Because if you're cycling around your whole team the whole time, all of these characters are going to end up in different positions. Let me theory craft a team, right, with you. I'll theory craft my team, like what I'm thinking right now. So right now, I have basically full on switched to Black Panther. I want her as my point character. I just can't with Storm. The normals are just so terrible. I love her neutral, but I can't. The other thing, right, and so I'll also talk about the downsides too. So the other reason I'm not wanting Storm is that at first, you know, I was still going to play all 4 characters, but I still kind of thought your point character was going to have a lot of value consolidated into them. Now, that's still true, right? Your point character is going to have a lot of value consolidated into them. It's in most cases who you're going to be building the team around. But the problem is, the value they need to bring to the team is not just in front anymore. If you listen to this previous conversation I just had, now you understand they also need to bring value to the back of the team. So that is one of the problems I think Storm has. I think she actually has some of the worst assists in the game for all 3 of her slots. Unfortunately, I think they all need some serious buffs. Her tornado used to be very strong, but it's been nerfed. Tornado used to delete a lot of projectiles. In fact, previously, remember that shooter assist tier list I was just doing? I would have put her up here, like right below Captain America, because I mean her tornado was destroying like in the beta, it was destroying like the first 2 betas. It was destroying like basically like every projectile. Like there was only certain projectiles that it would not destroy. But it has since lost that property. It basically only destroys small projectiles now, which is like it just kind of sucks, right? Like from what it was before. And then on top of that, I really wish they hadn't changed that, because her other 2 assists, now that I've experienced the rest of the cast, I can confidently say that her other 2 assists are just kind of bad, right? Her assault assist is not good. Her DP assist is not good either. So that's why I'm kind of like dropping her. Is that I just don't think that she's gonna be like good at that particular thing, because you're just never gonna want her in the back ever, right? Which means that you're not gonna want to be doing the tag switching as much. But I do want to do the tag switching because I think that's where the game is headed. So I decided to switch to Black Panther. On all that being said, she has a great shooter assist. Like I was saying, her shooter assist is probably A tier. I would also say she has one of the better DP assists, surprisingly. Like her angle that she throws the spear at is very powerful. Which is funny because you're probably sitting there and like, oh, what about Dr. Doom? You said his DP assist sucks. Yeah, like she has a little bit different of an angle. Hers is also like faster, I think. Like it's not as slow to start up as his. A few things there, right? And I also think hers has more combo utility, but I'm not gonna really get into that. So yes, she has 2 good assists. I don't really know. I have not tried her assault assist yet. I don't know what the block stun is on it, so we'll have to check that because maybe she potentially has a good assault assist. I just don't know. We'll see, right? At the very least, she has 2 good assists slots that she can be in without issue. So then the next character that I was theorizing to be on my team in my shooter assist slot is Magneto. So Magneto, I'm putting him there because basically he's the best shooter assist, right? Like he just in theory, he should be the best shooter assist. Every block stun is 25 frames, and he has the strongest property on his move out of any of them, right? Gets rid of projectiles and it gets rid of assists. Like it ignores assists, it ignores projectiles. That's like really, really crazy. So I think he goes in the shooter assist, and he can be the partner. Black Panther has the mix-ups on point, and he'll have a good projectile assist to cover everything down. And all I need to really do, right, is figure out synergy between these two. In terms of matchup spread, this also gives me a zoner to work with if I'm having trouble getting in with Black Panther against another zoner or anything of that like. And guess what? He's also one of the better zoners because of the exact same reason. His shooter assist is broken, his zoning's broken too. It gets rid of other projectiles. So if you're having a problem dealing with the projectile character on point with Black Panther, well, guess who is there to help you? Magneto. So that's the base theory for my duo right now. My third character is kind of the one I'm not too sure about right now. Right now, my third character, because I personally feel like the DP slot is pretty nebulous. Like, there's a lot of characters who can fill that role at this time at least that I feel like can. So right now I'm with Magic, right? Because the way I'm seeing it is that you're gonna want your DP slot to be a character that can cover multiple assist slots. Since your DP is relatively unimportant, that means that if that character is more flexible, like they can move around to all your different slots easier, then I think that's maybe a good place to put them, right? So that's kind of how I'm feeling with Magic. I also just like her. I like that she's a mid dispenser, so if I'm ever having problems with mid dispensing, like, oh, here's a mid dispenser character, cool. And then my final one is Blade. Blade, I'm just having him there because his assault assist is really good, and I also really like playing him on point as well. I like his supportive value with his tag out opportunities with his glaive, which I think is a flavor that we can add to this team that it doesn't really have, right? None of these three really have like okay, Magic actually has a pretty good one. I almost lied there. But so these two both have pretty good tag out moves. These two guys, they don't really have like the most amazing tag out moves of all time. But definitely ones that can do something, right? Like they definitely do something. But these two add that layer of tag out. They also add mid dispensing. There's some overlap between these two, I'll admit. But here's a unique dynamic that I just honestly kind of thought of. If we're moving around the team a bunch, these two can kind of switch assault assist and DP. He has a good DP, she has a good assault. They just have different purposes. His assault is more for the purpose of lockdown. Her assault is more for the purpose of winning neutral. So maybe if I'm in like more of a neutral situation, I try to get her over to assault by switching the team around and try to win neutral that way. The other thing I like about Blade is that I feel like he's a good damage cash out character, but as we're slowly learning with Magic, is that she is actually like the highest damage dealer in the game right now. So she is also a good damage cash out character. And I think having like one character in your back that is like, okay, like I'm gonna come in and do damage, and you can switch into me in the middle of a combo to switch over to my damage route. I think that's pretty nice, right? I think that's something, it's not like something you need per se, but I think it's like a nice feature you can add to your team. So I like Blade for that. Magic, the same thing, but I need to learn how her combos are to do all that damage. Blade's damage cash out combo is just like super easy. Like I already know it, so it's just super easy. Yeah, like that's just the theory I put forward for my team. And then if I have Magic on here, that gives me the option of the pop-up crossover as well. And another good reason, since you know the DP assist is probably the one you're gonna be using the least, most likely, having her in this slot that I use the least is good for the crossover, because she's usually going to be available for the crossover. Makes sense, right? But as you can see, right, you see how I kind of got on a whole like theoretical tangent there with the team building. This is where my excitement of the game is going right now, because I personally think that we are going to be team building and theorizing for a while. I don't think that it's going to be as fast as it usually is for fighting games nowadays, getting figured out too quickly. I do kind of think it's going to be a little bit longer than we're used to. Like maybe we get a year or two out of good team building, new concepts, because I just went through all of that for you, and I still haven't even scratched the surface of this team I just made, because I haven't even thought about how do they interact with this mechanic other than the actual moving part of it. I haven't thought like, oh, what is their tag out like moves? How do they, what are the best moves for them to tag out on? What are they going to do? Like, how does that interact with each of the characters individually together? Like there's so many other things that like are that you can imagine, right? And I truly think that's going to be the beauty of this game, and the beauty of having 4 characters. For as overblown as some people are saying it is, or as unnecessary as some people are saying it is, or some people are saying that it doesn't do anything, I think all of those opinions are completely wrong. You can sit here and theory craft with your team forever. It literally feels like building a freaking Pokemon team. Like, for real though. Like, it actually feels like you're building a Pokemon team. Like, you're thinking about matchups, you're thinking about weaknesses to cover sometimes. You're also thinking about, like, what are they offering to the team as well? Like, it's very interesting. I love it. And I think this is going to be one of the fun parts of the game. Like, honestly, this is, like, so fun that, like, I almost want to like do a roulette wheel for like building a team. like just do a series like me and my buddy are just doing roulette wheel, and then we try to figure out things with the random team it makes us. Damn, they gotta give me Storm because they know she was my favorite, not any longer. Sad days, sad days. But okay. I think I've gotten my point across. I think I gave you 4 good tips, and I think I've also given you some interesting theory to play around with and theory craft your own in the next 2 days and the next eternity of Tokon. Um, and yeah, I mean, guys, it's starting at 20 characters. We got this much going on. We're gonna have 24 characters after season 1, and then we have 10 years of characters coming. So this game, bro, this game is going to be crazy, and I'm going to be here for it all. So thank you for watching and sticking around, having a good time nerding out with me. Y'all have a great day. Okay.